Okay, now welcome to the second video, and this video is going to be a continuation of the first. We are going to booklet B, which is part 2 of the paper 1. So now no more multiple choice questions. We are going into the short answer question. Alright, now when it comes to short answer question, please make sure your steps are written properly because they can be method marked in the exam. Alright, question number 16, I'm not going to spend time going through. This is a question that you must get correct if it comes out. Alright, same goes for question number 17. So these are the questions that I'm not going to go through. Now question 18, as you can tell by now, we say that this is a very popular question because it will and it always appears, no matter what. Alright, now 7 divided by 8. So we do a very quick revision. 7 divided by 8 that's how you read it, right? 7, you read the 7 first before you read the 8. So when you do your long division, same thing, since you read the 7, let the 7 go into the house first. And let the 8 be outside, since the 8 came last. Alright, so let's do our division proper. Now this question, you notice they didn't say round to what decimal place. Right? Usually they will say give your answer to 2 decimal place. But this one don't have. Which means to say you have to do until there's no more remainder left. Okay, clear? So we're going to start. Alright, we're going to continue by putting on zeros. Now we have 70. So 70 divided by 8, the closest we can get will be 8 times 8, right? 64. So we continue this way. And the next number we can get closest will be 7 times 8, which is 56. 56 gives us 40. Okay. Now 40 divided by 8 will give us 5. Very nice with no remainder. So that's why you see the question also didn't tell us to leave our answers with any 2 decimal place or 3 decimal place. But alright, watch out because exams is still possible for us to tell you to leave your answer to 1 decimal place or 2 decimal place. Sometimes even 3 decimal place. Alright, if we are not nice and we are not kind people, in fact, we may even not tell you 1 decimal place, but we'll tell you in a different way. We'll say round your answer to the 10th. Alright, it means the same thing. Round your answer to the 100th. It also means the same thing. I want 2 decimal place. Alright, so for this case, no, the answer shall be 0.875. Okay, now question number 19 is a line of symmetry. So turning your papers will actually help you to see much better. But for the iPad, I can't do that. So I'm just going to show you where the symmetry line is. Alright, so the third diagram is the easiest for me. Actually, the second diagram is the easiest for me. Alright, because this is quite straightforward. You can see that it's folding directly, symmetrical. The R one actually is, yes, it's diagonal. I can't find a line of symmetry for P. So the 2 squares will be Q and R. Alright, they have been very kind also to tell you your answer must be more than 1 because plural squares here. Alright, they are very careful with the language grammar as well. Okay, now Aisha paid $15. I'm question 20. Aisha paid $15 for 20 stickers. You are given 20 stickers. You want to find 1 sticker. Alright, now straight away when you see this kind of thing, it should remind you of unitary method. You have 20 units. You want to find 1 unit. So let's write out in unitary method first. 20 units is $15. Alright, if you are unsure whether you need to put an equal sign or you need to put an arrow, then just leave it as an arrow, which is the safest. Alright, then we are actually just interested in one sticker, right? One unit. So remember your unitary method, pull down the number 15, pull it down, divide by 20. Right, 15 divided by 20, do you remember how to do this without a calculator? 20 should be split into 2 and 10. Okay, so your job is actually to do 15 divided by 2. You can divide by 10 first, up to you. Alright, for me, I will do divide by 2 first. 15 divided by 2. So I will have a decimal, I'm sure. Yeah, I will have a decimal, which is 7.5. Now 7.5 divided by 10, that's where Mr. Dot, where you multiply and divide, you go to the left, you go to the right accordingly. Yeah? Divide by 10, divide moves to the left. Divide moves to the left. Okay, I was confused for a while. 0.75. So the answer will be, they want the answer in cents. So 0.75 means 75 cents, isn't it? So your answer will be 75 cents. Alright, so that's the answer for question 20. Now let's go on to 21. Now you see that 21 to 30 is now back to the 2-mark game here. So this is a game where you have to spend effort doing it carefully. You have 2 choices. Either you get the 2 marks or you lose the 2 marks. Right. So let's go on to question 21A. Now question 21A, because they are simple, I shall just do a quick one. I will not explain, but addition has got to do with common denominator, right? So I'm going to find both with common denominator like this. Okay. Alright, so I have 13 over 15. This gives me 1 mark. Okay, now a few of you came to me to ask about B, how to change this into mixed number. Alright, so we are going to, let me see if this method helps you to see better. Right, now 1.14 is the same as 1 and 0.14 plus together. Correct? So 1 whole is nothing. 1 whole is just 1 whole. So no change. 1 whole is just 1 whole. The problem lies with what is this in fraction. 0.14. What is it in fraction? 0.14 is 14 out of 100. Right? Because 4 is in the 100th place. So 14 out of 100. There you have it. You have a mixed number. But remember, we will need to make sure that it is in the simplest form. So if the instructions say so, then there's no way we can keep our answer without the simplest form. That means no marks will be given if you don't have it in simplest form. Okay, so make sure you check that your fraction answer is always in simplest form, whether they ask for it or not. Okay, now name the smallest angle. For next question, name the smallest angle. If you actually take a look, now if you do have a protractor, there's one good way to tell. Alright, now without a protractor, sometimes the eyes can be deceiving. That means the eyes may not be accurate all the time. So it might be useful if you have a protractor. Okay, so in this case, I'm just going to review the answer. E is the smallest one. And you want something that is greater than 90. That means you want something that is obtuse. Right? Again, if you have a protractor, that will help. So remember to bring an exam your protractor and your math set as well. B and D. Alright, you can change to D and B. Okay, doesn't matter so long the 2 letters are in. Okay, question number 23. Find the area of the shaded triangle. Alright, now turning the paper will help you see that this is actually the base. Alright, now this part here is not the base because it is not part of the figure. Like what some of you say, that green one is just an imaginary line. It is not the real base. The real base is only 18. Alright, now what about the height? The height will be here. So you imagine the person is standing on the ground, right angle to the ground. That's the person's height. Okay, if you turn the paper, so this must be the height. So half times base times height will be half times 18 times 15. Okay, so we're going to try to cancel the 2 and the 18. We get 1 and 9. So in fact, we just need to do what is 9 times 15, right? 15 times 9, 9 times 15. A quick one will tell us the answer. 135. Alright, so this is a 2-mark question. Alright, you could tell by now, in fact, it is easy to score for PSLE. You will encounter challenging questions, but you also find that there are questions that you can easily score a 2-mark if you are careful with your work. Okay, let's go on to question number 24 now. Now, question 24 reminds me of this type of questions that you can see in a science paper, where they say if this particular substance is at a certain degree Celsius, it is at a solid state. And if this substance is in another degree Celsius, it is a liquid state. So you have to figure out which state is it in, if it is at 14 or 23 or whatever degree. Okay, your science teacher will have already taught you some ways to handle it. So it is the same method in science and maths. So it says that Faizal was at some of these cities, the temperature was 12. So we're going to see where 12 exactly lies in. In city A, 12 will be right smack in the middle, right? It's between 10 and 17, so it's in the middle. 12 will be, for city B, it is way out already, right? Because 12 cannot be in the middle anymore, right? It has to be somewhere lower than the lowest temperature. Okay, let's look at city C. 12 is also out. Okay, because your lowest is 19, 12 cannot be in the middle. The next one, city D, between 5 and 26, 12 is here, right? Yeah, so which city is possible? Cannot be B, right? Because your lowest is only 16. You cannot be going to 12, that's too cold. Cannot be city C also, because it says that the lowest is 19. Okay, so the only possible temperature, 12 and 12. City A is in the middle, city D in the middle. So A and D. Okay, now name the city with the largest difference. So I suppose you are going to do subtraction, right? Very simple subtraction. I will leave you to find out all the differences. I will only tell you what the answer is, because you will know by now the differences, how to find differences. The difference will be 21. And it is city D. D has the largest difference because 26 minus 5. That's a lot. Okay. Now, question number 25. I've actually sent out this solution on WhatsApp. So I'm not going to spend time going through. If you would like, you can actually pause the video, this video, to look at the solution, because they are pretty straightforward if you have a model drawn. Alright, so I'm not going to go through 25. You can pause the video if you want to take a look at how the model looks like. Okay, unitary method as well. Instead, I would like to go to page question 26. Okay, now for This question, I remember us going through that during the chapter on algebra, right? And you were able to solve it. The key idea is these two must be the same, right? Because they are the length. Length must be equals to the length. So it says that 5x plus 15, that means 5x plus 15 must be equals to 50, right? So do you think you know what is 5x? 5x must be 35, right? Because you try to find a difference. So what about 1x? 35 divided by 5 gets you 7. Now, if you now know that x is equal to 7, this means 4 times 7, right? 4 times 7 is 28. Now, then 28 minus 6 is equals to 22. So the answer for the breadth is 22 centimeters. Okay, so this is quite an interesting question using algebra, but since we are not testing you on algebra in the coming exam, we will not do it. Okay, now question number 27. You are supposed to draw the side view. Now the front view has been drawn, but since the front view is drawn, I also use this time to revise with you this views thing, because it has been a year since we learned it. For 5G, there was in 5G last year, we learned that there's actually a way to make sure that your answers are correct. And this method is called numbering method. So for example, if I'm supposed to be looking at front view, right? That means I'm trying to imagine I'm here, standing here, looking at this side. So I will number off. Numbering method means I'm going to number off. If this is 1, okay, 1 appears on the answer there. Then the next thing is, where is 2? 2 is on the right side, right, of 1. Okay. Then I can always continue 3, 4, and 5. So you see the 3, 4, and 5 also appearing there. Now, how did the 6 appear? How did this 6 appear? You can tell if you are standing at this side, how do you know where 6 is? 6 is above 5, right? If 6 is above 5, 6 must be here. Okay? So this is what we mean by the front view. So what we're going to do is we're going to now do the side view. It should be done in pencil so that you can now erase them and continue this numbering method for the side view. Now those hardworking ones, I challenge you to also revise the top view. Okay, the top view means from this way. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, so the top view, if you want, you can pause the video, try it first before you continue the video. But the top view answer will be 1, 2, 3. 4 is on top, 5 is on top, like this. Okay, so the top view, by the way, I mentioned this last year, and also I'm sure Ms. Yap has done it in 5F. The top view must be you standing on top at the front side. Okay, that means you are actually seeing from the top like this, from the front. So the angle is a bit different, because if you see it from the side, your answer will be different. Okay, so it must be you standing on top, the top view, but from the front position. Okay, it's like you are standing at the front, your head is looking downwards, something like that. Okay, so let's start to talk about the side views now. The side view, 1, 2, 3. We're going to do a 1, 2, 3. 4 is on top of 3, right? So we're going to put a 4 there. Then we have, there's one more. 5 is on top of 1. Okay, so that's how we have the side view out already. So you just have to color in the line. Alright, Now you can leave the numbers in if you want, don't need to erase, don't waste time. We will not mark you wrong for that. It's just part of your working anyway. Okay, now find the greatest number of unit cubes you can put without changing the front and the side. So I'm going to start with the front view first. Okay, now the front view must have this, no change, right? The front view must have all this, no change. So I need to add more cubes such that my answer will still be only those green parts without affecting my other answer. So in fact, I need a bit of your imagination. You can actually put a few behind, hiding behind this. Okay, hiding behind this. So I've counted. I would like you to use your own time to count yourself. Front view, I can in fact add about 6. And side view, I can add about 1. So I actually get a total of 7. Alright, now I'm going to leave you to do this on your own because I can't really explain this on the video. Okay, but you have to imagine putting extra cubes behind such that it will not affect the front view and the side view. Okay, but the answer is 7 in this case. Okay, now going to question number 28. Okay, now question number 28 requires you to draw a triangle PQR, and this triangle must have the same parameter. Okay, same parameter, but the only challenge, if you see, is that it is so hard to count the parameter. In fact, it is impossible to count the parameter because they are not even straight lines. They are diagonal lines if you look at it. Okay, but there's a clue given. It says that PQ must be equal to QR. Now, I please beg all of you, if there's a drawing question, you must do a sketch. Okay, to see how the picture will roughly look like. Now, P is at the bottom, Q is a little bit on the top. Right, so this is how the sketch should look a little bit like the real thing. Now you only have a new point to make. P and Q is already done. You need a new point called R. So we are going to have an R that's definitely going to be either on top or below, but we want it to be PQ equals to QR. PQ must be equals to QR. That means I want an isosceles triangle. Okay, I want an isosceles triangle. So I need to have these two lines that looks equal. Then join it up. This is the last point R. So my drawing should roughly look like this. Okay, so you see how important a sketch is? The sketch helps you see roughly how the isosceles triangle should look like. Now next comes the thing about how to get to the same parameter. Okay, now if you take a look, we can't really count, but if you see this first line that I'm going to color in yellow, A and D, isn't it just the same as this line over here? Right, you see it crosses 3 spaces like this, going downwards by 1 level, like going like a staircase like that, going down 3 steps to the next level below. So same thing over here, going down 3 steps, 1 level below. Okay, so you can now tell that in fact I have got this line already drawn out. So in actual fact, I can do the same for the other line. Right, I'm trying to match the line so that the parameter will be the same. So what I can do also is I can try to get the other line to be exactly the same thing. 3 levels. All right, crossing 3 steps. 1, 2, 3. Right, so basically, I want 3 steps, but only be able to cross 2 levels. You take a look, mine is 3 steps, but I have accidentally crossed 2 levels up, which is not correct. So I do not want this line. In fact, I only want it to be 3 level, yes, but only 1 level up. That's all. I take 3 steps, I can only reach the next level. Okay, so the line will be something like this. 3. Okay, let me tidy up first. Okay, let me draw the straight line back in. 3 steps, and only 1 level up, like this. Okay, so now I have fixed R already. And in fact, if I draw in the line, this line is actually the combination of this and this. Okay, now these 2 green lines that I just colored, do you realize there are actually 4 steps in total? 1 step, 2 step, 3 step, 4 step. 1, 2, 3, 4. So let's count. 1, 2, 3, 4. 4 steps. And going 2 levels up. Okay, this is 1 level and this is another level. So 2 levels up. Okay, so there I have a perfect one. Alright, now next, find the ratio of this first area ABCD to the area of PQR. Alright, now counting is again not going to be easy because they don't have complete squares inside. But there's always this trick when it comes to very confusing diagrams. Try to draw lines that can help you divide the figure into nice shape. What I mean is, for example, because I already have done it earlier, I'm going to try to divide it this way. Okay, then can you try to see you matched? Do you realize that this is actually the same size as this? This is actually the same size as this. So very simply put, this is just a ratio of 2:2. But of course, ratio I want it to be in the simplest form. So I divide both of them by 2. The answer is 1:1. Okay, meaning to say they are both equal size. Quite an interesting answer. Alright, but not a wrong answer. It's possible. Okay, so if I have a trick to learn in question 28, it is count the diagonal, how many steps you need to take. The second thing I've learned in the drawing is I can use imaginary line to cut the diagram. You see, I did that, and it helps me find ratio. Okay, so this is especially useful for 6F because I understand that the chapter of drawing was not done. So this is a good crash course to let you understand how drawing works in a square grid. Okay, now question number 29. Susan had a box of blue beads to red in the ratio 7:13. So remember, when we do ratio, the first thing we do, we list out the ratio accordingly with the title written. The title will help us make sure that our answers is in the correct order. Okay, so make sure you do that. Now what she did is she tried to remove equal number of blue and red. That means if I take out 1 blue, I also take out 1 red. If I take out 2 blue, I also take out 2 red. Okay, comes to ratio, remember I asked a few questions. What did not change? Did the blue beads changed? It did, right? Because it decreased after you taken out. Did the red bead changed? Yeah, it did because you took out the red one. Did the total change? That means the total of the blue and the red change. Did it change? Yeah, it changed, right? Because you are taking both out. Then the last one. Did the difference change? No, right? Because if I take out 2 blue, I also take out 2 red. So the difference will never change. Since the difference will never change, let me get this column called the difference. I'm going to try to get to know that the difference don't change. Okay, now 13 minus 7, what is the difference? It is a difference of 6. Alright, now after I've taken out, the ratio now becomes 1:3. So I'm going to write the new ratio 1:3. And the difference is actually 2. 3 minus 1 is 2. Now remember what we did in ratio? This 2, remember just now we said it's not supposed to change. The difference did not change. So what we need to do, we will need to make sure these two numbers in the circle don't change. That means we can try to make both of them into 6. We can try to make both of them into 2. But it is easier if we make this one into 6 instead. Correct? Okay? So we are going to keep the first one as it is, no change, a 6. But the second one, we are going to change it all by multiplying by 3. 6, 9, and this is 3. There you have the new before and you have the after already. So this is the proper ratio where the difference don't change. Do you remember this method? Okay, so the difference don't change. Right, now they said what percentage of the bits were left. Now when you talk about left, that means you're looking at this number of blue is left, this number of red is left. Correct? So total how many bits were left? 9 plus 3 is 12, correct? Originally, question will be originally how many was there? 20, isn't it? So now there's only 12. Originally there was 20. So if I find percentage, it's simply just multiply by 100. Okay, you do your cancelling, that's your final answer, 60. So this is for question 29 on ratio, changing ratio. Okay, so if you have forgotten about the ratio part, okay, revise back onto your workbook on how we do our changing ratio. Okay, that's question number 29. Now I'm going to go on to question number 30. I understand question 30 is a question that I got all of you to skip. Right? So Surajit came to me and said this is quite simple because I know you didn't do it, but he suggested the same thing that we did in circles, correct? So if this is here, this is also here. If this is here, this is also here. So you go by matching the color. Okay? So this I'm not going to go through, but this is a very useful technique. You use a color to match so that you're able to tell which what is the total parameter. So this one, if you are curious, you can try it on your own. I will not go through this since I did not ask you to do it, but if you are keen, okay, try it on your own. The answer is actually 8 centimeter. Alright, so this one I leave you to do on your own if you are interested. So with that, this part 2 of the video we have ended, and I'm going to the third video to talk about your paper 2.